Some people throw thorns in your path, thinking they'll watch you bleed. But what they don't realize is life always walks in circles. And in that circle, every intention returns. What they meant to destroy you becomes the very reason you rise. There's a strange balance in this universe. It plays no favorites, takes no sides. It doesn't care how loud someone screams or how quiet someone suffers. It simply delivers. Every hidden motive, every whispered lie, every attempt to twist your path will, in time, twist back toward the one who sent it. That's not revenge. That's just balance. See, critics don't hate you because you failed. They hate you because you didn't. Because you weren't supposed to survive what they sent your way. Your calm threatened their chaos. Your focus exposed their noise. And your quiet power? It disturbed their entire existence. Some people are so used to faking strength that your real strength haunts them. They hoped you'd fall. Instead, you rose. They wanted you to break, yet here you are, unshaken, walking alone, but walking forward. And ironically, the very silence they left you in became the reason you could hear yourself clearly. That's the power of being chosen. You don't move like the rest. You disturb comfort zones simply by existing. So, let them watch. Let them talk. Let them guess how you keep getting back up. The truth is, what was meant to destroy you trained you. What was meant to isolate you upgraded you. And what was meant to break your spirit only revealed how unbreakable you truly are. If you feel this message in your chest, if you know you're one of the rare ones, hit that like button and subscribe. You're not just watching this for entertainment. You're here because deep down, you know you're not ordinary. And no amount of hate can change that. Your path isn't crowded for a reason. Only the strong can walk it. Number 1. Stop questioning your loneliness. It's proof. You're on a higher path. They say silence is empty, but for you, it's been a battleground. You're not lonely because something's wrong with you. You're alone because too many people don't belong next to someone like you. The moment you start rising, everything that isn't meant for your next level starts falling away. People you once called friends begin to feel like noise. Conversations turn hollow. You walk into rooms you used to belong to and suddenly feel like a stranger. That's not you changing in a bad way. That's you evolving beyond the surface. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. Loneliness isn't always a punishment. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's a sign that the room you were trying to fit into was never meant to hold your kind of energy in the first place. You're being filtered out for a reason. The ones who chase popularity, noise, and approval. They blend in easily, but those who carry something real inside them, they don't. And the world feels that. Your presence makes people uncomfortable, not because you harm them, but because you reflect back everything they're trying to hide. You see through smiles. You notice shifts in energy. You read silence better than words. That kind of awareness, it's rare. It makes you stand out in ways others can't explain. And when people can't explain you, they distance themselves. It's not your fault. You're not too much. You're just not what they're used to. Stop thinking loneliness is a sign of failure. It's the quiet before the upgrade. The universe is giving you space, not rejection. It's clearing the noise so you can finally hear yourself without interruption. Have you noticed how every time you detach from people who drained you, your mind gets clearer? Your ideas feel stronger. Your energy feels lighter. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The more tuned in you become to your own path, the more disconnected you feel from the crowd. It's like leaving a party early because you know tomorrow requires a different version of you. And not everyone is ready to meet that version. Let them call it distance. Let them call you cold. What they don't know is you're not withdrawing. You're recharging. You're protecting your peace like it's your last breath. And that right there, that's strength most people will never understand. So, if you've been asking yourself why you're always the one left out, maybe it's time to flip the question. Maybe you're not being left out. Maybe you're being pulled up. Higher levels always have fewer seats. That's just how it works. You're not alone because you're not enough. You're alone because you're becoming too much for the space you once fit into. And that's not isolation. That's evolution. Number 2, don't dim your light. Let it expose the truth and cleanse your circle. Some people only liked you when you were quiet, unsure, second-guessing yourself. They were fine with you as long as you stayed small. The moment you started shining brighter, they started backing away, or worse, throwing shade. And here's the truth, they weren't afraid of your darkness. They were terrified of your light. Your light reveals things. It doesn't even have to try. Just by being real, being sharp, being present, you disrupt the lies they've built their identity on. That's why they avoid you. That's why you suddenly feel the silence around you growing louder. It's not rejection, it's exposure. You're exposing what they didn't want to face. Some people can only survive in rooms with dim lighting. They surround themselves with comfort, denial, and ego. But you walked in like a mirror they didn't ask for, and mirrors don't lie. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to wake people up. And not everyone wants to be woken. So when people fall away from your life, don't chase. Their exit was part of the cleansing. The brighter you shine, the clearer the difference becomes between who's genuine and who was just hiding in the shadows beside you. Being the light comes with consequences. People will try to cover it, question it, mock it. But your job isn't to make them comfortable. Your job is to stay lit. You weren't chosen to play small. You were chosen to see through illusions and cut through the noise. That's why your circle is shrinking. It's getting clean. It's getting sharp. The fake ones can't breathe in truth for too long. So, let them go. Let your light do the work. You're not alone because you're not worthy. You're alone because you stopped playing the part they cast you in. The real ones, they'll find you. They won't be blinded by your light. They'll bring their own. If you've ever felt deep down that you were meant for more, like your path has been tough for a reason, this message is for you. Comment 999 below to say, I see it now. I'm answering the call on my life. Number 3, protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your power. Some people don't want to get close to you. They want to get close to your energy. There's a difference. You've probably felt it before. You enter a room and the atmosphere shifts, not because you're loud, but because you carry something real, something rare. People gravitate toward it without even knowing why. But here's the hard truth. Most don't come to respect your energy. They come to consume it. This is why chosen ones often end up walking alone. When your energy is powerful, it becomes a target, not for appreciation, for extraction. People will smile while draining you, pretend to admire you while slowly taking from you. They come with stories, chaos, and constant need, never offering anything real in return. And if you let them too close, you'll look around one day and realize they're full and you're empty. But here's what sets you apart. You feel it. You feel when someone's presence takes more than it gives. You feel when your peace starts bending under someone else's weight, and the moment you choose to step back. They call you distant, cold, and selfish. Let them. What they call distance, you call protection. What they see as guarded is actually power management. You're not here to be everyone's source of light, especially not for those who refuse to create their own. Protecting your energy doesn't make you hard, it makes you wise. Think of yourself like a rare resource. Diamonds aren't left on sidewalks. Gold isn't handed out freely. So why should your energy be available to just anyone who shows up pretending to care? People don't value what's easy to access. And your presence, your focus, your energy, it's not something that should be touched without intention. Start protecting yourself like the asset you are. Because once you learn how to guard your power, something changes. The wrong ones stop coming, and the right ones feel the pull of your presence without even needing to ask for it. And that's when you finally stop feeling drained. That's when you realize you were never the problem. You were just surrounded by people who didn't know what to do with real power. Number 4. Quit expecting support from the unprepared. Seek souls who match your depth. Not everyone clapping for you wants you to win, and not everyone standing next to you is strong enough to hold what you carry. Chosen ones learn this the hard way. You keep trying to build with people who barely understand your blueprint. You keep explaining yourself to those who haven't even mastered themselves. And every time you lower your frequency to be understood, you lose a piece of yourself in the process. You've probably already noticed when you're down, they disappear. When you rise, they go silent. That's not coincidence. That's exposure. You're not too much. They're just not ready. The truth is, you can't expect real support from people who haven't even met their own reflection. You can't be poured into by people who are still leaking themselves. And you can't build something meaningful with someone whose idea of deep never went beyond surface-level loyalty. Chosen ones often carry more emotionally, mentally, energetically. But just because you can handle a lot doesn't mean you should carry everyone. You were never meant to be a crutch for people afraid to walk on their own. You need depth. You need people who see you without you having to explain. People who can hear the things you don't say. People who don't run when things get heavy, they help you carry it. Stop wasting your energy on temporary characters. You're not in a season where you need company. You're in a season where you need alignment. There's a difference. The right people won't drain you. They'll fuel you. They won't ask you to shrink. They'll challenge you to grow. They won't be intimidated by your silence. They'll respect it. So quit looking for understanding from those who never took the time to understand themselves. You don't need more people. You need the right ones. And when they show up, you'll know because you won't have to shrink, hide, or translate your soul just to be accepted. Until then, walk alone, heal, grow, and protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Number 5. Heal before you attach. Your past pain can't build a future love. Some people rush into connection with hands still bleeding from the last one, expecting to build something new while still haunted by what broke them. But the truth is simple. You can't create a future while dragging the weight of the past behind you. Not when you're built different. Not when you're chosen. You weren't designed for surface-level bonds. You don't crave attention, you crave alignment. And that kind of connection doesn't come while you're still bleeding from places no one else can see. Pain doesn't just hurt you, it shapes your behavior. It teaches you to flinch at kindness, to question genuine care, to push away anything that feels too good to be true. So when someone finally comes along who could match your energy, your unhealed wounds whisper, "Don't trust it." That voice isn't intuition, it's trauma pretending to protect you. This is why the chosen ones stay alone longer than most, because deep down, you know, if you attach before you've healed, you're not building something real, you're building a hiding place, and that's not love, that's survival. You've already spent enough time fixing others while breaking yourself in the process. You've already ignored your own pain just to keep the peace. No more. Healing is the hardest work no one claps for, but it's also the strongest armor you'll ever wear. It's how you take your power back. It's how you stop letting the past decide your future. When you heal, your standards rise. Your energy shifts. You stop choosing from your wounds and start choosing from your worth. And that changes everything. Real love doesn't require you to shrink or hide your scars, but it does require that you face them. The right connection isn't scared off by your past, but it also isn't supposed to fix it. So heal first. Not for them, for you. Because when you're whole, the right person won't feel like escape. They'll feel like alignment. And for someone like you, that's the only kind of love worth waiting for. Number 6. Stop settling. Real connections need time and alignment. Some people would rather not be alone, even if it means sitting at tables where they're barely respected, loved halfway, or constantly misunderstood. But chosen ones, we don't settle like that. We can't. You weren't built for shallow conversations or temporary connections. That's why you feel disconnected around surface-level people. That's why you get bored with meaningless small talk. You don't crave company. You crave alignment. You don't want attention. You want energy that feels right. Here's the raw truth. A lot of people jump into relationships just to fill a gap. They tolerate the wrong ones just so they don't have to face themselves. But you'd rather walk alone than sit beside someone who doesn't truly see you. That's not loneliness, that's emotional intelligence. Being chosen comes with a different kind of standard. You don't just need someone who shows up, you need someone who matches your pace, your depth, your focus. You need someone who doesn't drain you, compete with you, or slow you down, but someone who recognizes your fire and still dares to stand beside it without shrinking. And that kind of bond, it's rare. It takes time. It's not something you bump into on a lonely night. It's something life prepares both of you for separately, so when you do finally meet, you both feel it. No games, no confusion, just clarity. Real recognizes real. The people you had to walk away from, that wasn't loss. That was space being cleared for what's real. You're not asking for too much. You're just not designed to shrink so others can feel bigger. And every time you choose not to settle, you silently raise your frequency. You show the universe that you're serious about what you want, and in return, it starts moving people, places, and timing around to meet you there. So no, you're not behind. You're not late. You're just on a timeline most people don't understand. Let them chase temporary. You're built for timeless. Number 7. Don't let old wounds. Write your story, break the pattern, reclaim trust. There's something people won't tell you. Pain rewrites your memory. It twists the past until it becomes your future. And if you're not careful, it'll convince you that survival means isolation. But here's what they forget. Scars are not the story. They're just proof you lived through it. When you're a chosen one, betrayal hits harder. Why? Because you give deeper. You don't fake your loyalty. You don't perform emotions for show. So when someone lies, abandons, or uses you, it cuts right through the core. It changes how you walk into new rooms. You become quiet, not because you lack things to say, but because you've learned most people listen only to respond, not to understand. So you build walls, and not soft ones, fortresses. You stop opening up. You start second-guessing compliments. You feel tension when someone's being too nice, because in your world, kindness always came with a hidden agenda. This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition. But let's be real, living in defense mode isn't power. It's protection. And chosen ones aren't made to stay guarded forever. You weren't built to live behind emotional bulletproof glass. You were built to lead, to connect, to love hard, but with precision, not with fear. The pain was real, but it's not your identity. You don't need to trust everyone. Just trust yourself enough to know when someone's energy doesn't lie. Your past was never a prison, it was a training ground. And now you're not bitter, you're sharper. You're not broken, you're upgraded. So stop repeating the trauma by calling it instinct. Heal enough to recognize who's different. Don't let the worst version of someone else define the best version of you. Break the pattern before it becomes your personality. Because the longer you carry what they did to you, the longer they win. They wanted you to close off, to become cold, to question everyone, even yourself. But the real win is when you trust again, not blindly but wisely, not because you're soft, but because you're untouchable now. Number 8. Embrace the silence. Isolation is the universe's training ground. Silence has a way of stripping everything down to the truth. And for the chosen ones, that silence isn't empty, it's heavy, it's loud. It holds lessons most people will never be forced to face. While others distract themselves with noise, you've been thrown into a space where the only voice left is your own. That's not punishment, that's preparation. People think isolation is loneliness, but what they don't understand is that being alone is where your real power sharpens. When you're cut off from the usual noise, fake friendships, shallow conversations, constant distractions, you start hearing the things that actually matter. Your instincts get louder, your focus sharpens, your skin thickens. You begin to realize that silence isn't absence, it's exposure. It shows you everything who you are without influence, who really shows up when you have nothing to offer, and who you become when nobody's watching. That level of awareness, it's rare, and it's the reason why you can't connect with just anyone. You were removed so you could rebuild. Think of it like this. A sword isn't sharpened in public. It's forged in fire, shaped in pressure, and brought to life in solitude. That's what's happening to you. While others are busy trying to be seen, you're being sculpted into something unshakable behind the scenes. And the ones who laughed at your distance, they'll soon watch you return, stronger than ever, and won't recognize the version of you that silence created. So don't fear the quiet. Use it. Get stronger in it. Create in it. Heal in it. train like you're getting ready for something massive, because you are. What you're feeling right now isn't abandonment, it's alignment. You were pulled back because where you're headed, you can't carry the weight of unnecessary attachments. You can't afford distractions. You can't afford to second-guess yourself. This silence, it's not a void, it's a mirror. It's your upgrade zone. And when it's time to step back out, you won't just walk into the world, you'll change it. Number 9, build your wholeness. First, dependency destroys what loneliness can prepare. You can't build a strong future while leaning on someone else's stability. If you're still depending on others to feel whole, you're not ready for what your future demands of you. Being chosen doesn't mean you never feel lonely. It means you're being taught to stand alone so that no storm can shake you. Loneliness, for you, isn't a punishment. It's a training ground. It's where the real you gets built without distractions, without validation, without applause. People chase connection because they're terrified of facing themselves. But you were meant to face yourself, fully. No filters, no noise. You're not like the rest. You weren't meant to be completed by someone. You were meant to complete yourself. Then choose who gets access to your energy. Dependency is the trap. It dresses itself up as love, support, comfort, but it makes you weak. It teaches you to wait for someone to save you instead of becoming someone you can trust. And if you keep looking to others to carry you through the hard parts, you'll never learn that you were built to carry your own weight and still rise. This stage of isolation, it's not forever, but it's necessary, because when you finally do connect, it won't be from emptiness, it'll be from overflow, from power, from peace. Let the world keep rushing into shallow connections. You're not here to join them, you're here to master yourself. Remember this, if you can't enjoy your own company, you're not ready for someone else's. Loneliness isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. And once you see your worth clearly in that silence, no one can ever convince you to settle again. Number 10. Your depth isn't a curse, it's a filter to find the real ones. They say you feel too much, think too deeply, care too hard. But the truth is, they just can't handle the way you don't pretend. Your depth isn't a flaw, it's a filter. It removes everything that doesn't match your level. And for most people, that's uncomfortable. You walk into a room and instantly sense what no one's saying. You hear the silence louder than the words. You don't chase small talk because it bores you. You crave connection that doesn't need explanation. But that's rare. Most people are terrified of being seen. And you see everything. That's why they call you too intense or too much. But what they really mean is, you make them confront themselves. And not everyone's built for that. Your presence acts like a mirror. People either level up around you or they leave. And when they leave, you start to think something's wrong with you. It's not. That's just your depth doing its job. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand out so only the real ones could find you. Yes, your depth creates distance, but it also protects your energy. It strips away the fake, the flaky, the shallow. That's not loneliness. That's alignment. So when people fall away, don't chase. Let them go, because the ones who can breathe in your atmosphere, the ones who don't shrink in your presence, they'll find you, and they won't run. Being chosen means you won't be understood by many, but you will be respected by the right ones. Let your depth keep filtering. The real ones will never fear it. They'll feel at home in it. Number 11. Stop confusing solitude with rejection. You're being refined, not punished. Rejection. Number. You weren't rejected, you were rerouted, pulled back, not to break, but to become sharper, stronger. You're not in solitude because you're unwanted. You're in solitude because you're being upgraded. Most people confuse silence with abandonment, but chosen ones, they learn to read silence like a manual. Every pause is a lesson. Every empty room is a mirror. The space you're in right now, it isn't punishment. It's preparation. You're not being left behind. You're being carved into something unstoppable. Let's be honest, rejection hurts, but you've outgrown the spaces you used to beg to be part of. They didn't push you out because you lacked value. They pushed you out because your presence challenged their comfort. You didn't fit because you were meant to lead, not follow. And when a leader begins to awaken, the world around them always gets louder before it goes quiet. But that quiet, that's sacred ground. That's where you sharpen your mind, harden your spirit, and strengthen your boundaries. The people you thought you needed were distractions in disguise, and the peace you found in their absence, that's the real reward. So don't mistake this season of solitude as failure. It's a process. Fire refines gold. Pressure creates diamonds. And silence, it builds chosen ones. You're not broken. You're just in a chapter no one claps for yet. Stay there. Heal there. Rise from there. Because when you return, you won't need validation. Your results will speak for you. This isn't the end. It's the becoming. Number 12. Remember who you are, heal, rise, and only. Accept what honors your soul. You didn't come this far just to shrink back into old versions of yourself. You didn't survive the betrayal, the silence, the loneliness, just to forget who you are now. Chosen ones don't blend in. They don't beg to be seen. They remember. The world will try to make you forget. It'll hand you watered-down love, half-hearted friendships, and shallow spaces, and expect you to be grateful. But not you, not anymore. You've healed too much to settle for chaos dressed as connection. You've seen too clearly to go blind for comfort. The people who couldn't meet you where you were, that's not a loss. That's alignment. You don't need company if it costs your peace. You don't need love if it empties your soul. Remember the weight you carried when no one checked in. Remember how you built yourself back from pieces without applause. That strength, that clarity, that's your standard now. Anything less? Not welcome. You're no longer seeking permission to be whole. You already are. And now you rise not with anger, but with boundaries. Not with revenge, but with silence, and not with desperation, but with deep self-respect. Let others chase attention. You'll attract alignment. Let others perform for acceptance. You'll wait for what feels like home. Your path may be quiet, your circle may be small, but your energy, it's louder than ever. So from now on, only accept what sees you, supports you, and doesn't fear your power. The old you would have tolerated less. But the real you, the healed you only move forward. Because now, you remember who you are. As we reach the end of this message, remember your solitude isn't a flaw. It's a feature. It's proof that you're shifting, growing, and stepping into the version of yourself that doesn't settle for less. You were never meant to fit in. You were built to stand out. Let this silence sharpen you. Let it prepare you. That deep feeling you've had, that you're meant for something bigger, It's not in your head. You're not alone, and your path has meaning. Drop a 999 below if you're ready to step into what you were born for.